Welcome and welcome back to the Need I Remind You podcast. This is your host, Yolanda Youngblood, and we are closing out November 2024, entering the holiday season here in the Western Hemisphere. And I am at home with my day ones, my family. More family is coming into town, God willing. I am praying for traveling grace for everyone traveling or who are entering into the holiday seasons, maybe alone or with company or with maybe an ordinary feeling, maybe loss of traditions or just different experience. I'm praying that we all arrive at our destination safely, that we sink into rest, further our slowing down, and stay true to how we want to show up and to be in practice of loving on ourselves, forgiving ourselves, and nourishing ourselves and each other the best way we know how. And the rest, we just gonna leave it up to whatever higher power you believe in. This episode I named as Be Still and Know, inspired by the biblical scripture of Be Still and Know that I am God. And it's really a scripture and a reminder to me that I've been seeing more as I've been slowing down. Obviously, stillness is my practice as a mindfulness and meditation teacher, and being able to be present with what is, no matter what might be happening around me, within me, beyond me, and know that there's a higher working, there's a higher love, there's a deeper connectedness and harmony, and I believe and trust and know that it is all working for the good. So I wanted this episode to be a deepening of the previous episode that I recorded around slowing down this fall season and going into the holiday seasons, into the winter months, and being mindful and clear about the practice of presence, being present, not the practice of gifting just for, the obligations of shopping and exchanging gifts, which, I know that comes up, and hey, that's your business. But I am speaking to the practice of being present and the beautiful light of presence and how it guides us in our decision making, in our love practice, in our responsibility to each other, and how that practice of being still and slowing down intertwines with our doing and our activeness and the subtleties and the ways in which we do and not do certain things. That's what I'm getting at. So this is a loaded topic. So I took some notes to help clear my thoughts a little bit more. And yeah, I'm just going to be talking my stuff for the next few minutes. I don't know how long I'll be talking. I never know. But I want to get into how being still has impacted me, how it is still impacting me, and how I see and advocate for stillness for the collective, because it is very necessary that we slow down and start to allow for better care and better treatment to all beings, not just the ones we call family or loved ones, the ones that we cherish the most, the ones that we like the most, the ones that we favor, the ones that mirror us. It's about the people that We can't see the people and the things and the beings that we may not like all the time. How can we slow down and tune in to their frequency so that when we are in relationship to each other, we're offering love, love and protection and harmony and all that good stuff that we want for everybody. So, when we say we wish everyone well, we wish you a merry whatever, we wish you love and peace and all that stuff. I truly want us to be in practice with slowing down and noticing how we can get more connected with that, especially when we have this very precious time in the seasons to slow down in some capacity. I recognize that this world and the pace of our culture is constantly pushing its way into our lives through social media, through TV, through work demands, and through just societal norms and different systems that just push their way into our lives. And we've been swimming in the waters. These harms are very much present. The busyness, the grinding, the perfectionism, the politeness or the political correctness, the things, the rigidity that we have when we're in relationship with each other, to I don't know, protect this sense of safety and preserve our sense of selves. But I am in challenge with that every day for myself and with the people that I interact with in the most loving and gentle way that I can be with myself and others, because that's my form of resistance is through gentleness and through care, to challenge that and to challenge it in a way for our spiritual growth. That is what my goal is. So in all of that complexity, slowing down allows me to simplify. Slowing down allows me to really assess where I am, to be present, to ground, and to move with intention and clarity and wisdom in a way that only only God knows how it happens, honestly. I can point it to my upbringing. I can point it to my womanhood. I can point it to my privilege as a loving daughter, who's cared for. I can point it to so many things. But for me, that's all God's working. That's all God's working. And my role in all of this is to be a vessel, to keep my channel open and do my best to be consistent and present. And so when I slow down and I'm resting, I am really connecting to a greater sense of being. And I just want to describe that a little bit more for people, because I recognize that sometimes slowing down can get you ran over real quick. It can get you ran over real quick to slow down. I'm thinking about being in traffic or being in a moving vehicle. And when I go slow and people speed up behind me and swerve around, and it can be very nerve wracking, but my nerves are within me and my body. And so that's why my somatic practices like yoga and dance and just walking every day and being with nature to see like, oh, there's things moving fast, there's things moving slower, there's things moving seemingly not at all. And everything is still everything. Everything is still here. Still here, still beautiful. And everything might not be here, but I'm okay with that. And I think what I'm getting at now is the realization or the acceptance that we all have an expiration date. And when I let go of my attachment or over identifying with this joy of life and pursuit of happiness, I'm able to relax deeply in a way that I thought was only reserved for the sick and shut in, the lazy and downtrodden, the numb and disconnected. And as I tune into my own channel and I relax more, I recognize that I see all those things within me, and I'm still worthy of love. I'm still valuable in my eyes, and I have been loved and cherished, and yet I know that I am my biggest lover. And that's going to keep happening. That's going to keep happening. And I'm going to keep calling people into the sacred space to be in love with themselves more and more in the ways that they yearn for, through others, through other entities, through systems, through worlds, through family. It's a calling back. It's a reclaiming of our energy so that we can know how to trust that whatever happens will be okay. We will be okay. So, I know I'm talking in broad strokes, so I want to give some context as it relates to mental health and the mental health care system, because that is a area, if you've been listening to this podcast, that I have really developed a connection with over the past 3 years, or deepened my connection with. Mental health is something that is ever present. However, my journey has taken me down a path that has brought me closer to the mental health care system, to the healthcare system, to psychiatric care, and it's right on time. It's right on time. So I want to give some context to how slowing down in stillness is helpful to me now, and it was helpful for me in the past, and I believe that it can be helpful to others and myself in the future. So when 2021, if you haven't heard my story, I was hospitalized, and It was the first time I was experiencing severe emotional distress to that degree that I would need to call an ambulance and get care in a hospital. And I just didn't know what was going on. I was experiencing a level of confusion and disconnection from reality in my body that I couldn't articulate. I couldn't identify. It was so unfamiliar. It just came up and out. And I said, whoa. I said, whoa. And I tremored. I shook so much during that time. And it was a very brief time in the scale of time. But I was so nervous and terrified. And I couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from. And I was in a hospital where they like to pinpoint. They like to pinpoint where your problems are coming from so that they can heal you and discharge you or move you on to the next, process you, so to speak. And for those who know, when you know, you know. And I believe that more people know this experience more than I think, and more than I think a lot of people think, which is hospitals and other systems. It's not just hospitals, but I'm speaking specifically to hospitals and the people who are operating in hospitals, who are working in the mission of hospitality and care and healing. It has become, and it is, very dehumanizing in those spaces, especially for marginalized folks. And there have been a lot of reforms and people working towards making it better, but your girl here on this channel is quite impatient. Sometimes I can be pretty impatient, and I think that's why stillness really helps me and why I advocate for it, because I don't know how else to feel grounded and hopeful in this world with so many things that just combust in me. Because it just feels like, why is this the way it is? But that, as I'm learning and relearning and returning to over and over again, is the practice of liberation. Things are going to combust within me, out of me, all around me. And this does not mean that I'm any less deserving of care and support. And as I mentioned, I wasn't able to express what was going on with me. I couldn't comprehend what was going on with me. All I know is that I needed help, and I called on a friend, I called on my parents, and I called on the system, the 911 system. And entering that system of being in a hospital triggered more trauma, more dehumanization, more confusion. And I was assessed psychiatrically, and I was asked a question, and out of confusion, I answered in a way that was, I guess, enough for someone to write on a piece of paper that I was suicidal. And seeing that word on my discharge report suicidal when I had not self identified as that or even felt connected to that. Felt very diminishing. I felt as if they were writing me off so that they could justify moving me along, and that would be resolve or a resolution in their mind to move forward. And it hurt. I felt dismissed and I felt belittled from those words. And that's when I began to write my own truth as I deepened my awareness and knowledge about myself. That's what felt true. And then I started to look and seek for answers beyond me and beyond my truth, because I know I'm never alone. And I would read stories like Madness by, her name is leaving me right now, Antonia Hilton, a journalist and just powerful voice who captured over a decade of research that extended almost a century of history and context from different storytellers and former patients and administrators and staff and community members around Crownsville in Maryland, a asylum for the Negroes that has been closed and transformed into something beautiful and historic. And I just carried on step by step, just getting more and more rooted in a truth that felt loving and supportive and nourishing to spirit, to our consciousness, to our collective, to that peace and harmony that I truly want to breathe life into every day, every day, not just for the holidays, not just for my family, not just for my friends, not just for my people, every day, every being. And I guess, yeah, that heartbreak was real. Being in the hospital, being overlooked, and feeling into my own heartbreak, but more so feeling into the heartbreaks of someone else is experiencing worse or more of this. And I just got a little drip drop on me. So, and this is not to say that one's pain or one's story is more or less deserving of support. I'm saying that this is just a drop. This is just a drop in the truth, and yet it's powerful. Like me centering myself and my story, my truth, and what happened and how I felt about it and how I still feel into my experience, and the experience of not wanting to over-identify with these experiences because I don't want to develop a victim complex or I don't want to get lost in anything. I don't want to become over-attached or over-identified with something that is just It's just is. So what keeps me coming back to this topic is a struggle of wanting to articulate the truth, and I'm living the truth. I'm embodying it every day, and there's just so many things that come up. So I guess that brings me back around to being still and knowing God and knowing love and knowing you fill in the blank, because there's a greater knowing. And if we're still enough, we're still enough. Yeah, I feel like those are the points that I wanted to share. I know that it's, for me, it feels a bit unclear because I am holding on to wanting to get it all out and wanting to be clear and sharp and edited and refined and da 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 da. But like this is unfamiliar to me, man. Like this is unfamiliar to me. Like talking in my room to a microphone. I don't know. I truly don't know what I'm doing in this fashion. And I think that is what I love about this process, because I ain't gotta know. I don't have to know what I'm doing right now. I can just do it and do it till I'm satisfied. And like Martha Graham said in one of my favorite quotes, like there's a queer satisfaction that comes out of the artist. Like I'm paraphrasing, but there's never going to be this satisfaction. Like that's the wrestle with anything, that you can work yourself over and over and over, or work a product or a thing over and over and over. And at a certain point, you just got to be still and yield and surrender to a higher knowing and trust that whatever is going to come through will come through. But being consistent, being persistent, being assertive, having embodied awareness around how you feel, telling yourself the truth when there's been so many lies given out, and there's so many unlockings and shifts of consciousness and narratives happening. It's very challenging to be still sometimes in this world. I recognize that deeply. And that's why I try to keep it simple. I try to keep it simple, and I try to live the simple life. So just to wrap up, the things that are helping me or supporting me, and I think I want to share with you, and maybe it can offer you something. I am in practice of writing things down, my dreams, my goals. I lean on templates of things that other people have already done. I don't like to reinvent the wheel too much. If I can look something up, I look it up and I find the template that I need, and I make it quick and dirty to just get it out and get my thoughts out so that I can organize them, so that I can prioritize them, and so that I can commit and move forward with whatever steps or choices that I have deemed desirable and necessary for my wellness and well-being. And I am fierce with that. that compassion for myself. And it's only because I've been fierce and I've been keeping that fierce ferocity going and going and going. And I've just learned through trial and error when I need to take breaks, when I need to slow down, and when I need to tune in. And right now I'm feeling a call to do that for myself, slowing down from some of the quickness of the US and the reactivity of it, and just knowing that I have the privilege to travel and venture. So going forward next month, I will be committing to traveling for a 5-month period abroad. It has been a dream of mine that I have been rolling around and kind of deferring for years. And I've been testing the waters. I've been building up my confidence. I've been researching and playing and reaching out and taking risks and meeting new people and just opening up my channel a bit more to let people know what it is for me and protecting my dreams as well. So if I don't want to share, I don't. And that's my right to that level of privacy. Bell Hooks has reminded me recently in All About Love that privacy and secrecy are not interchangeable. You can have privacy based on when you feel ready to share what you want to share. You have that right. You do not have to disclose anything. No one is entitled to your truth or to your story or to access to your dreams or your ideas. And secrecy, secrecy is a concealing, is a hiding, is a sneakiness. But there's nuance in that as well, as I'm leaning into trickster energy and just recognizing that there's relevancy in that hiding. And maybe it's not hiding. A friend reminded me that instead of the word hiding, it's hibernation. It's a familiarity with darkness and with tucking away something until it does feel safe enough to reveal, until you have gathered enough evidence and awareness and receipts that yes, I can bring a little bit more out, that there's been a mutual exchange of vulnerability and transparency that gives people the ability to connect with you on a deeper wave. So that's a precious thing, and I'm learning that more and more and more, and I'm practicing it more and more and more. And that is what I feel like sharing right now with you all as you're listening. So that's it. That's all, folks. I hope you have a beautiful conclusion to your 2024. I will be back in December for the final episode of the year, and I hope that you'll join me. Take care and be kind to yourself.